Good morning, Bucknutters. Welcome to the Bucknuts Morning 5 here on Monday, February 9th, 2026. I am Dave Biddle, very happy joined by Dan Rubin. So forget about the title of the show that you guys see up there talking about Ohio State's defense. We're going to do none of that. Dan and I are just going to delve into why is this not a national holiday in the United States the day after the Super Bowl? Okay, we are going to talk about Ohio State's defense. And I put a thread on Bucknuts asking for questions. A lot of people want to know about Matt Patricia. Why hasn't he signed the extension yet? What I was told last week was Ohio State's extremely optimistic he's going to sign that extension. But, I was told by a good source that, Patricia's agent told him, hey, just hold off on signing everything until like all the NFL defensive coordinator jobs are filled, just in case someone wants to do what the Raiders did with Chip Kelly last year and give you $6 million to go be an NFL DC. And speaking of one of those jobs that's open, the Raiders, because Kubiak's going to take the Raiders head coaching job. Do I think Matt Patricia is going to take the Raiders defensive coordinator job? No. The Browns defensive coordinator job is also open, Dan. I don't think he's going to take that. I don't know if he's going to be – he hasn't even been mentioned for it. And the third and final one is the Cardinals. I don't think he's going to take the Cardinals job. Those are the three that are open. So I was told if you're an agent, that's smart. You're like, okay, I know you want to stay at Ohio State. They're going to take care of you. Great. No reason to sign the extension yet until the NFL season's over. Now the NFL season's over. These jobs that are still out there are going to be filled this week. There's just no doubt about that. So I also heard that there was a chance, some people have thrown like the Patriots out there because I know their defensive coordinator had some health issues this year. I have not heard anything about that, but I've heard other people discuss that. So here's what I'm hearing, Bucknutters. It's very, 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 very likely that Matt Patricia is going to come back. But I understand the trepidation some people have because why hasn't he signed it yet? I think I just explained why I'm hearing he hasn't signed it yet, Dan.
Yeah, they're holding out for the last potential piece of leverage so that Ross Bjork has to kick in an extra set of steak knives or floor mats on there. It's interesting. The three teams you named, you can make a reasonable argument that a defensive coordinator at Ohio State's actually a better job. And I wouldn't say that about a lot of NFL teams, but you did not bring up the institutional mainstays that dot the league. My only concern there is Tom Brady is a pseudo owner of the Raiders, and he has some New England connections with Patricia, I assume. So I don't know how close they are. I hope not at all. But that would be my only concern, because those are the kind of behind the scenes friendships, relationships that you build on, and coaching is so built out of that. It's amazing how the trees just branch into other situations. So based on what I heard when this all started out, let's say about 6 weeks ago, is that about right? About a month ago, there was, I don't want to say extreme optimism, but I know there was some discussion of figures, and they were comfortable with them. So barring a lottery-like attempt, I'd be real surprised if he would leave. Keep in mind, and I know this, we have a hard time, there's some self-loathing that goes into this, but it's a pretty good job.
Really good job. Yeah. And I just love the idea once this is finalized. I love the idea that it's not even an idea, the fact that Ohio State's going to have their two coordinators are former NFL head coaches. I absolutely love that. All right, let's get to some other stuff. So we'll let you know about Patricia. People are like, well, how come it's not official yet? Well, that's why it's not official. We got the story ready to go. I wrote the story like over a month ago that Matt Patricia's coming back, and we still have not published that story. We got it ready to roll, Dan Rubin. We got it ready to roll, as we are wont to do. All right, some people want to know about the defense. Did we reload enough? It's like, can Ohio State get better at any three levels of the defense? Can the defensive line be better than it was last year? Can the linebackers be better? Can the defensive backs be better? Here's what I'd say to that. That's going to be tough sledding. Let's start with the D-line. You're replacing Caden McDonald, first-round pick. You're replacing Caden Curry, who, I don't know, fourth-round pick, but led the team in sacks with 11. And you're replacing another starter in Tywone Malone. I think the defensive line can be good. We'll start with that. And then we'll go linebacker, secondary. I am not predicting the defensive line is going to be better. If it's as good as last year, I'll be happy with that. I love that Kenyatta's back. I think Zion Grady's going to take a step. I like some of the guys they got in the portal, the three guys they got in the portal. But I don't see a true difference maker, a guy they're going to be like, now maybe Kenyatta. maybe Kenyatta. Certainly a D tackle. I don't see a guy that we're going to be like, that guy is going to be a future first-round pick in the NFL. I hope I'm wrong.
This feels like a will Edric Houston make the leap or not question. So what do you think about that? That to me is the answer here. Keep this in mind. And I keep saying keep this in mind. I got to lose that for the rest of the show. I think they'll be very good. There is no glaring issue to me. I would even say the defensive line depth, I may be even a little more confident in the depth going into this year than I was last year. I was not sold on Tywan Malone last year. He had a great year for Tywan Malone, I thought. I do think Will Smith just feels like to me that he's got a chance to be one of our breakout guys for next year. Just everything clicks for me when I think about Will Smith. He fits the pedigree mold. He's been here a while. Great kid. Been in the weight room for now 3 or 4 years with Mick. So I'm very optimistic there. You know, Robinson and Rousseau from Alabama. Depends who you talk to. Then that's how it is with transfers. It's kind of like free agency. You get psyched to get them, and then you talk to someone who from Alabama, and they're like, yeah, well, there was this. So we have to see those guys produce. Like you said, it would be nice if Kenyatta makes the leap, put it this way, I think it'll be hard at this point in his career to make a leap. But if he goes from, you know, really solid to you got to double him and he's getting chipped and he's, you know, 11 sacks and like a real third down, you feel him coming on the edge, classic 4-3. What do you call them? Hollywood casting, central casting. Then I think it's like that. Sometimes there's a guy, if you just put him in the top spot, everybody falls into their spots. When you don't have a top guy and you're asking your 2 to be a 1, your 3 to be a 2, you can get watered down by the end. So, to be fair, I don't think people thought at one point Tyleik Williams would be a first-round draft pick. I don't think people thought Caden McDonald was going to be a first-round draft pick. Some people, at least. So it'd be nice if Larry could work some of his magic. But like you said, I'd be hard-pressed to say or bet on them being better.
Linebacker. I'm going to repeat myself a lot on this show. Okay. Am I really high on Riley Pettit?
Come on.
Damn right I am. Damn right. Do I think Peyton Pierce is one heck of a good college linebacker and just going to keep getting better, especially under James Lord? You bet I like Peyton Pierce. Do I think Christian Allegro was a good get in the portal? Damn right. I also look at mock drafts. I'm a draft nerd. Dan Rubin's a draft nerd, and I see things like every mock draft, including the one that just got released, 3-round mock today by The Athletic. Arvell Reese is like going number 2 in like every draft. I know he's more of an edge, but like he played linebacker. Sonny Styles is like right around 12th of every like. So you can't lose 2 guys that are going to be top 12 picks and then say we're going to be even better at linebacker. I'm answering one of the questions from Bucknuts from I think this is Foxar 101 or Foxar. I don't want to mess up my guy's name. Foxar 2001. I should know that by now. Longtime subscriber. Foxar 2001. The professor. He just wants to know: are we going to get better at any level of the defense? Is the defensive line going to improve? We'll see, as we just outlined. Are the linebackers going to be better? You're not going to be better than Arvell Reese and Sonny Styles. Do I still like this linebacking unit? Yes, absolutely. Are they going to be better? No.
First of all, let's just draft it up here. Let's geek it out. Off-ball linebacker, okay, as a position, does not get drafted very high. That's just a fact. I mean, it's just the value level. It's kind of like running back in the NFL. Still, and I told you this, and I told the draft guy this. When I saw Arvell do that play against Texas where he looked to the right and then rushed it and sacked the quarterback, I wrote down Arvell Reese will get drafted before Caleb Downs. And we did a show
on that early.
It's not me. The NFL is obsessed with edge rushers. If you show them you can get to the quarterback, you can do almost anything, and they'll take you.
The Bengals will even draft you, even if they think you might get to the quarterback, and if you never have because you look at the combine. If they think you can get to the quarterback, the Bengals will take you early in the draft.
And so I think Arvell also should send some people aren't going to hear this. He should send some money to Micah Parsons because Dallas drafted, ironically, Micah at 12 as an off-ball linebacker. He had no rush history. He only went to rush because DeMarcus Lawrence got hurt in a game. They put him in there, and they're like, oh, wait, we have the best rusher on planet Earth. So then that became the idea. And also, I think we've gotten to a point for Arvell, and I'll get off this. Hybrid is no longer considered bad. Hybrid at one point in time, you were called a tweener. Now it's called versatility. And,
Right.
we can put you in multiple spots. So Arvell is a stud. Also, 5 years from now, when everyone's an adult, Arvell Reese is going to be the baddest dude in the room. That's just it. So that's why you take him, potential-wise. The Styles one is super interesting because guess who picks 12 again this year? The Cowboys. Go look at a mock draft. Go look at one of those things that does like the consensus and tells you, oh, the AI's 50 mock drafts. And there will be no player in that draft that's more likely to go to a spot than Sonny Styles at 12. Okay, I'm just telling you this. The geek shows I watch on the Cowboys, he's on the show as the YouTube graphic half the time. Here's what's going to happen. He's going to go before 12. This happens every year. He's going to get pushed up. Ask yourself, and you say, there will never be a time at Ohio State when you have two linebackers like this again. Let me say that out loud. There will never be a time at Ohio State where you have the top two linebackers in the draft to get drafted like this. Not only that both are 6'4" and 240-pound cyborgs. You know what I'm saying?
And there's no way they're 6'4". Usually when you say that, you mean they're 6'3"? No. Sonny Styles, if he's not 6'5",
that's what I'm saying.
I'm 6'1". There's no way he's 6'4". He looks like he's like closer to 6'6" than 6'4", but Mick does a good job. If you're not actually 6'5", if you're 6'4" and 3/4, he's listening to you at 6'4". So
Dave, consider this
very accurate. Yeah.
So what between now and the draft, what has to go on? Interviews on the combine.
Mm-hmm.
If there's anything Sonny Styles is better at than playing football, it's being a human being.
I know. Seriously.
It's also athleticism. I don't even know if he should participate in the combine, to tell you the truth. I don't know how that's going to work. That's changed over the years. Some guys don't run and stuff like that. If Arvell Reese and Sonny go to the combine, they're going to get picked in a draft for not NFL players, for like some kind of world national Space Jam games.
The Olympics.
He is going to obliterate the combine. And then he's going to get interviewed, and you're going to be like, your daughter's going to be in the next room, and you're going to be like, hey, I want you to meet somebody real quick. So Arvell and Sonny, to me, you can't in the draft. I don't think you can go back and find this. I don't think there's a team that's had the top two off-ball linebackers selected. I don't think there's been a team, if you want to get geeked out, to go defensive end linebacker like that. There may be. I'd have to look that one up. But we're not getting guys like that. And we also both know that they're great dudes. There's some guys, like he's going to get to the combine. He's going to get a litmus test. They're going to get an interview with him and be like, yikes. These guys are the opposite. So I think if I didn't sell him hard enough there, the check should be in the mail for me.
Sonny's one of those guys. We were interviewing him when he was like a sophomore, a couple years ago. And you're like, man, this guy's mature. Then you remember he should actually be a true freshman because he reclassified. And he was, even then, especially now when he was a senior, still should have been a junior though. He's just an old soul. It's like you're talking to like just somebody who's older than you, even though he's like half my age almost. Like, yeah, well, gosh.
And he's a man. The first time I saw
half my age and then some actually. It's like
the birthday's coming up, do you?
In the world. What's that?
You know the birthday coming up, do you?
No, I don't even know what you're talking about.
First time I saw Sonny, I think I've told this story. Flying to the Hoop, which is the annual winter basketball tournament held a couple miles from my house here in Fairmont, and the starting lineups came out for it's Pick Central, right? He's Central.
Yeah, they won the state.
He was
title.
The first one introduced, and I'm like, it was like a 6'4", really jacked guy. And I'm like, oh, this is like the football player and senior that they put in the starting lineup to kind of rebound and stuff like that. And they're like, 6'4" freshman, Alex Styles. I'm like, dude, freshman starting and flying to the hoop. And by the way, more than held his own. I've got more basketball stories about him, including one from Sonny Styles at the Peach Jam, which is the #1 AAU tournament in the country, when he was with the 16s, meaning kids going into their junior years. He finished third in blocks. He was a reserve guard. He finished third in blocks. Derek Lively was first. He's on the Mavericks. So if you're a 6'4" guard and you finish third in blocks, you're probably a decent athlete. So I am done. I could probably work for Sonny. By the way, if he's interested, DM us.
Yeah, he's one of those guys, I remember saying the same thing about Joshua Perry. Now, Josh was, fourth round pick, not a first round pick, but I knew Joshua Perry was just going to be successful no matter what. Look at him now. We even had the Joshua Perry show on Bucknuts. So we was going to blow up. We were hoping to have him for a year or two. And then that lasted about 6 months until Big Ten Network snatched him up. And then that didn't last long until NBC snatched him up. Joshua Perry is great. Sonny is just going to play in the NFL for a long time. He's going to be a first round pick. So he's not going to need, but Sonny would be a CEO. If he got in the media, he'd be great at that. Whatever Sonny does.
Jerome Baker, though, Dave.
Good at.
Jerome has lasted in the league forever. He's still in the league because he's a great athlete. He's not even in this. He's not as good as Sonny. Not as big, as strong, as fast, as talented. So Sonny is looking at a 15-year NFL career right now. Very impressive.
All right.
We're doing DBs. I'm sorry. We got
2001. Let's look at the secondary. Again, you're losing a guy in Caleb Downs who should be a top 10 pick. I can see him slipping to the Bengals, and that'd be perfect for the Bengals at 10 and then passing on him. I don't think it's going to happen. I don't think he's
going to the Dolphins.
I don't think he's getting past the Chiefs. Yeah, he could go. Yeah, Dolphins at 11. The Bengals pass on him at 10, and Hafley gets him at 11. Seriously, I can see the Bengals taking a combine warrior at 10 and passing on Downs, but I don't think Downs will get past the Chiefs at 9. Sucks that the Bengals and Chiefs each had 6-11 records, and the Chiefs get to pick ahead of the Bengals. It's like, come on. That could end up costing them Caleb Downs, but they'll do something stupid. But anyway, so let's look at the secondary. All right, Caleb Downs. I mean, gosh, I love everything about him. He's maybe the smartest football player that I can remember at Ohio State. Like everybody, even Matt Patricia saying he's a coach on the field, a guy that coached in the NFL for 16 years and won 3 Super Bowls, saying that about a guy. All of his teammates nickname him Coach Downs and all that. So you lose Caleb Downs. Frankly, I don't think Lorenzo Styles Jr. is a big loss. I think Earl Little Jr. will be an upgrade, and I think they have other guys that could go in there. I don't think, and Lorenzo Styles Jr., great young man. Didn't think he was that good of a nickelback. He wasn't terrible. He had his moments, but I don't think that's a big loss. IGB, I think, is he's one of those guys you can replace, though, even though I like IGB a lot. I know you do as well. The Athletic in their 3-round draft that I mentioned that came out this morning, they have IGB as an early 3rd-round pick. I was a little surprised that people that were doing the 2-round mocks didn't have him listed as a 2nd-rounder. I still won't be surprised at all, Dan, if IGB is a 2nd-rounder. So losing IGB, losing Downs, losing Lorenzo Styles Jr., but you bring in Earl Little Jr., you bring in Terry Moore, who we're going to get to more in a moment. We have a follow-up question about that to kind of replace Downs. He's not going to be Downs, but at least you have a more than a solid replacement there. Devin Sanchez moving into a starting role. Jermaine Matthews Jr. coming back as a senior, a returning starter. Other guys on the come-up like Miles Lockhart and others. Despite losing Downs, can the secondary be better, losing Downs and IGB, or is that full talk when we're talking about losing Caleb Downs?
I kind of want to say of the 3 groups, I would say secondary has the best chance, but losing Downs is such a gut punch that
it's hard to say they're going to
be better.
Yeah.
Just because also Downs is unique in that we talked about like the hybrid, the versatility stuff. Sometimes that means jack of no trades, or jack of all trades, master of none. He was that guy. It's like, who do we want to bring the ball up? Let's have Caleb bring it up. Who do we want to set the screen? I think Caleb's the best screen setter. Who do you want to shoot it? Let's pass it to Caleb. It's like, you can't do that. And he is that guy. I've said this. I think history is going to reflect on the fact that he might be the best defensive transfer of all time. I don't really know how it's possible to be better. And it's not really a transfer portal thing. So thank you again, Tricky Nick. There's also that thing, like if you watch the tape and don't have the sound on before the snap, so many of the heads are doing this. And then he's like, man, like, you do that. You do that. My biggest fear of the defense is that Patricia Downs intelligence nexus that's spread out to everybody else. There's no way to get that back. So I don't think the unit will be as versatile, but I do agree with you. Like Lorenzo Styles Jr. is a good player. When you sat down, I'm sure the offensive coordinator was like, who are we going after? It wasn't that difficult. I mean, part of being on a great team is, or being, lined up next to like a Patrick Surtain in the league, you're going to get some work, Riley Moss, because the last thing they want to do is throw it at that dude. That said, I do like Earl Little a lot. I think Earl Little is more of an in-the-box guy than a nickel guy. So I think he'll kind of replace that part of Downs, kind of like the glorified Rover. If you look, he was much better at that spot. And then to me, the guy that can make us not better, but if he's totally healthy and back to where he was is Terry Moore, who is more of your traditional ball hawk kind of safety, a little longer than Downs is kind of a compact dude. He's still not going to prototype size out at the combine. Moore is more like your classic, especially in the modern game, the more field safety. And I think that would improve them tremendously. I was also high on IGB. I think he deserves a ton of credit for his oven mitt summer. And he came back and he went from being, I think, the grabbiest or most penalized DB in the country, and had a really, really good year. I really thought they went away from him. If you notice, his name was not called a lot second half of the season. They had identified Jermaine Matthews became the guy they went after. That's just a fact.
Lorenzo Styles Jr., Jermaine. Yeah,
they did not go after Igbinosun.
And they went after get Devin when he was a true freshman, because he's just going to keep. Exactly. What are you going to do? Like, it's like I always use the Ty. You were going down this road a little bit. I always use the Ty Howard example at Ohio State in 1996. Ty Howard was a really good corner. Teams threw at him a lot. Not because they didn't think Ty Howard was a good corner. They just knew Sean Springs was on the other side of the field. It's like, well, okay, nothing against Ty Howard, but we're not throwing to Sean Springs. Sean Springs won defensive MVP of the Big Ten that year. Defensive player of the year in the Big Ten, had 0 interceptions because no one would throw him the ball his way. So, yeah, I mean, what are you going to do? You're going to throw it IGB and Downs? No. You're going to throw it Lorenzo Styles Jr., Jermaine Matthews. You're going to throw it the true freshman when he's in there, Devin Sanchez. Yeah. I don't know, man. It's hard. It's hard to replace Downs. I don't know if I can say they're going to be better, but I'm bullish on the secondary. I'll say that.
Yeah, let's go back. I think you hit it. I'm not down on any of the units.
Right. I'm not either.
And I think it's hard for people maybe to grasp or to appreciate this, given how the season ended. They didn't give up more than 17 points in a game. The play that lost the game, no offense, I mean, I love Julian. The play that lost the game against the U was the pick 6. They still didn't give up more than 17 points in a game.
Right.
That is outlandish. And I don't want to hear about the schedule. If you hold any college,
they held Indiana to 13 points. They held Indiana to 13 points in Indianapolis. Okay, yeah. The week after playing Michigan. The adventure to it's still weird to say. It'll never not be weird to say. The defending national champion Indiana Hoosiers. It's insane in football. But seriously, I mean, that's a high octane offense. You're playing them in Indy. Indiana was definitely more motivated in that game than Ohio State. Ohio State's coming off the Michigan win. That was a huge emotional lift for them, and it's hard to get back up. Then everything else that's happening that week with Heartline, with Legend Bay, with Chris Henry Jr. being like signing day that week too, which is insane that they do that. And you still hold Indiana to 13 points in Indy. Yeah, that defense was and you're right. That pick 6 lost the game for sure. It was a bad play call. Jeremiah didn't block, didn't go after the tackle then, and then it was a bad pass by Julian. It was like,
and it was a great play by the corner.
And he's a
really good player.
He's a really good
Scott. He's one of those hybrid type guys that's probably he's going to get compared to Downs, so he's not a first round guy. That kid's going to get picked in the early part of the second round for those same hybrid qualities. Definitely. I'll say this. Do I think the defense will be good enough for Ohio State to win the national championship? Absolutely. So let's talk levels here.
Especially with Matty P back for year 2. That's huge. That's the number one thing. Yeah. So we started off the show. We started off the show because we had like a couple of questions about that in our thread on the front row message board on Bucknuts. All right, let's switch gears here. This is from Reno 12 Hightower.
Good one.
And he's like, are we overlooking Luke Fahey as a contributor by his second season? I like that because I think Luke Fahey's underrated. I wouldn't rule it out at all. Do I think Tavian St. Clair is going to be the starter? After I think Julian's going to go pro after this next year. Could Julian come back for a fourth year? It's possible. I think he'll probably go. And I think Tavian's going to be the successor.
You don't mean that.
But I wouldn't rule it out that Luke Fahey could beat out Tavian. I mean, Luke was good against really good competition in California. Not a big guy, 6 foot, 200 pounds or whatever, maybe even a little less than 200 right now. I'm sure they'll get him up to 200. But I like him, man. His film looks good. Every time he'd go to like one of these all-star games, which I do take those with a grain of salt, or the combines, he would always look good. But really his game film against top competition in California, he looks good to me, Dan.
He had a really good senior year. I think Ohio State's probably really excited that, I wouldn't say they rolled the dice on him. He wasn't the way they are set up at quarterback. They weren't going to go huge in this class just because of the way they were set up. And probably keep in mind, you got a salary cap now with quarterbacks, right? So, I mean, if you're not getting a top of the board guy, that's a challenge. I've been told that he is Saiyan-esque, maybe not as gifted arm-wise, but maybe a little more mobile. That said, I would be surprised. I'd be really surprised if Julian doesn't go pro, considering I think by the end of the summer, you're going to have some people. There will be a discussion. You will see a Julian Sand versus Arch Manning article written this summer by someone in the national media. The fact that can even be written, to me, I would be very, very surprised if Julian Sand plays football at Ohio State after this coming season, especially given you're going to have arguably the best returning quarterback wide receiver tandem in college football history. And if they want, they could do some statistical goofiness that would reset so I don't see that as a possibility in any way right now. Something would have to happen to me for that to even be something I'd consider. Same token, something would have to happen for Tavian St. Clair not to be the guy. I just think they have high hopes for him. I think he allows them to do certain things that they can't do right now. God knows I don't want to start another thread about the running quarterback on our site that will get 9 billion responses. But hey, unless you guys really want to do that, we like the traffic. But I like Luke a lot. But I'd be surprised if the lineage gets upset quarterback.
This is exactly. We'll end the show with this. Our guy Buck Rational, who I've met many times, and I just can't met. I mean, we're like close to drinking buddies at this point. He comes over to all the tailgates that we do for 97.1. But your guy Buck Rational, I love that he took your kind of nickname for the site and made it his name. It's Bucknuts, not Buck Rational Observers. He's like, I'm Buck Rational. He makes a great point. I feel this way too. This is why I put it like at 1% Julian Sand would come back. Why would Julian Sand come back in 2027, as Buck Rational says, for those just listening to the podcast? If Julian Sand comes back in 2027, that means we probably had a disappointing 2026. Well said. And we're not going to have a disappointing 2026.
He'd have to get hurt.
We'll go pro, and then either Tavian St. Clair or Luke Fahey will take over as your starting quarterback.
I think he would have to get hurt.
I do too. I
don't see people say a drop off. And I know people are down on Julian because he doesn't run that much. He was the most accurate quarterback in the history of college football the first time he did it. Can we not?
And now he's got a real offensive coordinator. Can I point that out? I know everybody's this or that about Arthur Smith. I guarantee you that's an upgrade over Brian Hartline. I mean,
Art Smith and Matt Patricia are overqualified candidates. That's just a fact. That they are here because we are Ohio State. You want to talk about what we are? When you've hired your last ex-coordinators have all been NFL head coaches. You are Alabama or Ohio State. That's it. There's nobody else that does that. There's no one else who would consider doing that because it's hubris. Here, we literally are like, he was head coach of the Falcons. I don't know.
Head coach of the Lions. He wasn't that good though. He was pretty
He's
bad.
chubby and he puts a pencil in his ear and he needs to shave. No. Come on, man. The NFL is above college. Like, it's just, if Harvard was going to send their best professor to Phillips Andover, which I guess is he'd be overqualified. If you have a Indy 500 driver that goes to help out at, IMSA, man, I'm nerding out here. He's overqualified. You may not think he was the best up there, but the barrier of entry in the NFL is very, very high for intelligence. You get spit out quickly unless there are extenuating circumstances. This was when everyone comes in with, oh, blank is terrible. Check the owners. No offense, Dave. And no offense to me either.
None taken. I say it more than anybody. So I could never take offense to anybody talking about the Bengals front office being a joke.
So I also think, and you mentioned, I think Day has the structure of the staff now the way he wants it. I mean, if you go look back last year, Hartline, we can all say, was he really the offensive coordinator? Before Chip, did we really have help for him on the offense? This is the first time when I think their approach really matches specifically where they want to go. The Knowles hire was great, but there was some tension. You know what I'm saying? It wasn't that smooth. He may have thought he was getting something that he wasn't. I don't put it this way. Art and Patricia are not here to become the head coach at Ohio State.
Right.
Most times when you have someone that good in your number 2 spot or 2.5 spot, they're there because you're like, you know what? Bobby Bowden's 100 years old and we're sliding someone in here. That's not the case here. These guys are coming here to be the guys who run their units. And I think it was really important to mention what Day said last year. He was interviewed and he was talking about the transition from his responsibilities being moved around when there was some concern about Hartline. And he said, well, the defense this year, we have Matt, meaning it's his. I don't need to go over there at the Oregon game and be like, dude, what the F are you doing? Okay. So that amount of brain power gets shifted around and you're a walk around coach. And now you add in Art on the other side and and you hire, God forbid, a real special teams person to just focus on special teams. And it's not like at your high school where they hire the guy as the basketball coach and like, guess what? You're also the girls tennis coach. And he's like, I don't know anything about girls tennis. They're like, you better just show up at practice and don't get arrested. You know what I mean? So special teams has been minimized like that. I love the idea of having a guy just on that kicker maybe. So I'm optimistic, yet I don't think any 3 levels of the defense will be better. And I'm not sure that matters in the grand scheme.
Yeah, I will say, to answer the question of the title of the show, did they reload enough? Yes. Are they going to be better on defense statistically? Maybe not, but I think they reloaded enough. That doesn't mean they're going to be better at any 3 level. All right. Great stuff from Dan Rubin. Thanks to all of you for tuning in. We appreciate it very much. Hope everyone has a great rest of your day. Go Bucks.